Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Prior to the regularly scheduled agenda for the presentation for the induction, found out that we do have a short slide, which we're going to show first, and then we'll go to the regular scheduled program. Paul, please, sir.
That someone would say, well, now I'm 60. I'm going to take off my apron and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to sit. There. And that's it, see? 60? It's just the time to get started. Think of all the things you can do, all the things you can see, all the things you can learn. If you can't do anything else, if you're just sitting with the clouds. And how many people ever look up in the sky and study the clouds? My name is Thelma Swain. I was born out here in Chelsea, Maine, November 22nd, 1908, at the home of my grandparents. And I was born very late at night, just the cusp of the next day. The doctor came from Augusta, and because it came in November, and weather uncertain, he stayed overnight. My father came from England. My father and his younger brother were the only ones of the family to come to America. He came to this country because, after all, there was no chance for him to advance beyond his social class. Over here, there was a chance. My father was a gardener, and he was a trained gardener. At the age of 12, he stopped school and was apprenticed on a very large estate where there were already 5 gardeners. And so he always worked for very wealthy people. Later on, he went to work in some greenhouses down in the southern part of England. So he learned the inside work as well as the outside work. He came to Halifax and worked in Nova Scotia, and then worked his way down. And he was working at Augusta, where the National Soldiers' Home is, and that's where I met my mother. My mother's name was Bessie Graham Kirkland. She had a younger sister and 2 younger brothers. She stopped school at the end of the 8th grade. Her mother thought that she needed her at home to help take care of the family. My mother's mother came from Glasgow, Scotland, to Canada when she was 12. How she got into the United States, I don't know. Never was told. My father was gardener for Fannie P. Mason on her 2,000-acre estate up there. And he was always referred to, much to my chagrin and annoyance, as Cowdy. Never Mr. was never Mr. applied to a servant's name. And he was a servant. It was a very large farm, and it extended almost up to the village of Walpole. They had tobacco fields. They had a tobacco drying house. Of course, there was the estate surrounding her house. Big pasture. There was a conservatory. She had a conservatory over there. There was something rose garden. She had her horses and her cows out in that pasture. Further on were more farm buildings and barns where they had herds of cattle. They supplied everyone on the farm with milk but not from her private hurt, you see. As I said, I grew up on the periphery of great wealth. He got this job down outside of Norfolk, in a place called Haven, which is really part of Norfolk now, I guess. So that was a large farm, but not like the others. It was only like 100 acres. We had on the farm a man whose sole duty was to oversee the oyster beds. The mailbox was a mile away from the house, and my father hated to drive. He never did. I drove an automobile, so they taught me how to drive a car on a stripped down Ford wagon. And so I used to drive the truck down to get the mail. And I remember the most exciting thing that happened to me at that time was I ran over a pig, and right here in a little village, you see, it's a Negro village, and there were little pigs running around, and this pig darted out, and I couldn't stop the truck, and the pig ran out the back, from under the back, because the truck was high enough so this little pig could run right under it without being hurt, squealing like mad, of course. So that means that I never have taken driver's test. Because I found it wasn't required. Mabel was a year or two younger than I, maybe just a year, and Charles a couple of years younger, but he was the apple of mother's eye. He could do no wrong, so it didn't make any difference what the rest of us did. He was always right and we were wrong. They invited me to go to the circus with them, and they invited me in to have lunch first in the circus. And it was the first time in my life that I had ever been waited on. I had a waitress at the table, and you know, when you're about 10, 11 years old, and you've never experienced anything like that, and here you sit with the family, and somebody comes and serves, and you're going to help yourself. Well, I wondered how, I would love to have seen my face. I would love to have known how I reacted, but I just did what I saw other people doing, and that was all. And then we went to the circus. We were the chauffeur driven the car, and of course I had always known the chauffeur as an equal, you see. Here I am riding in the back, and they called him by his last name. I was taught to call him Mr. It's just, you're in a different world. They go to private schools, and I would never have been allowed in a private school. Never. As I say, you're on the periphery. The interesting part of my schooling is that I finished the 5th grade, and I never finished another grade in grammar school. The first year I finished, the complete year, was my first year of high school. I graduated from junior high in Nashua, but I left Nashua before the year was over. I was able to do a little work at home, so they accepted me. And I got a diploma, went back and graduated with that class in junior high. Then I went to high school and finished over 4 years of high school in York, Maine.
Did you think of yourself as being in a kind of pioneering generation as young women? Because, in fact, you were.
No. I wasn't unusual. Lots of girls went to college. I went to Tufts College. It's now Tufts University. And I was an English major. A man gave me a lavalier. He said, "It's yours if you kiss me here. Now tell me, is there anything wrong in that?" Oh, let's see. He lived in the lie, and I lived in the life W. And they were, buildings were right next door to each other. He went to the University of New Hampshire. He was an electrical engineer. That's where I was married, in that house. 1938. I just had one attendant, we had one attendant, and my father decorated the mantel and the screen over the fireplace, and that's what it was. There was no outside tent or any great big, my folks couldn't have afforded it, and I didn't have the money either. He went to work for a public service company, and then moved over to Central Maine Power Company in Waterville. From Waterville days, we became very close friends with a couple, and Lenora was a nurse, which was a blessing to me, because with her son being 5 days younger, and right there, and I would have had no experience with babies, you see, never run around them, never babysat, do any of these things. I was sort of like a fish out of water, as you might say. The doctor said I was getting so old that I'd better make, if I was going to have a family, I'd better do something about it. And she's the one and only. My father sent me over to England in 1936 to meet my grandfather. So I went over and met him and my aunts and their husbands. Over there with my father and my husband. And then we went to Paris and picked up Ginger. She had already experimented in international living. And we brought her back to England so that she could meet some of the relatives. And we went to Scotland. Then was transferred to Augusta, and shortly after that he decided he tried moonlighting, and that worked very well. So he decided to go into business for himself and became what you call a consultant electrical engineer. And he worked drawing up plans for buildings of all kinds. We started, as I say, on a second floor apartment in the house. The drafting room was our bedroom. And we used the bed for a layout table. You know what a layout table is. Then we had 2 drafting boards up against the wall just inside the door. You came in the door, drafting boards here. Then we bought a house on the same street. And it had a porch on the back. And we closed the porch. And we had that for our drafting room and office. When I got an enormous big check right out of the blue, and it was big, I showed Pop and I said, your father, and I said, what are we going to do with this? You know, and we dashed to the bank, and they were quite overwhelmed at the size of the check too. Well, I immediately set up 2 scholarships. One in my college and one at Middlebury. And both of them have the requirement that they must go to students from the state of Maine. You know, because when you come right down to it, in so many situations, you can just say to yourself, there but for the grace of God, go I. It's such a slight difference between one and the other. I have found that a smile, a nod of the head, or a giggle, or a little laughter sometimes, can do as much for you as anything you might want to do. I think it's just amazing. I am just amazed at how fortunate I have been. I've just been surrounded by a lot of great people. Don't you think I'm the luckiest person on earth? I love you, Mom. I love you, Mom. Oh, we have to put a period on there. A period.
Greetings and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Maine Federation of Business and Professional Women, BPW, it is my privilege to welcome you to the 21st Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame Induction Ceremony, and of another great Maine woman. Today, March 20th, is the first day of spring. Spring, a time when seeds are planted and plants begin to bloom. And so today we celebrate the many seeds that the late Thelma Swain planted and many women who benefited from her contribution. Thelma Swain will be the 32nd honoree inducted into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame since it was established in 1990. The Women's Hall of Fame has become an impressive display of women who have made outstanding contributions to improving opportunities for Maine women. Thelma's photograph and citation is displayed along with the previous honorees who have made a significant differences in the lives of women. We appreciate your support and thank you for joining us today as we celebrate the 32nd inductee, Thelma Swain. And now please welcome Dr. Allison Hughes Hanley, President of University of Maine at Augusta.
Thank you, Burnett. It's certainly always a pleasure for me to be able to participate in this event. I had arrived in 2008 to begin my wonderful experience at UMA on March 1, and this event, I think, was the first public opportunity I had to meet so many of you and to learn more about the Women's Hall of Fame. On behalf of the University of Maine at Augusta, I would like to welcome you once again to the campus as we prepare to induct yet another extraordinary person into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. I congratulate you for an excellent choice in honoring the late Thelma Swain. I never met Thelma, but her legacy of supporting teen mothers right through to college is one that's not only dear to my heart, but goes right to the heart of this institution, and it was wonderful to see the video. About 3/4 of UMA students are women, and so many of them have had to overcome significant barriers, including teen pregnancy, to get here. I have no doubt that some arrived because of Thelma's efforts and generosity. In a short while, we will move from this induction ceremony to the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, where photographs of past inductees are on display. At UMA, we've always been proud to house this Hall of Fame and on our campus for the past 19 years. But today, I bring some exciting news, which was alluded to previously, which makes us even more proud. I'm pleased to announce that we have moved the display from the back of Kate's library to a much more attractive and visible location in the corridor leading from the Maine Holocaust and Human Rights Center into the Kate's library. I think you will love this new space, as I do, and I look forward to sharing it with you in a little bit. In the meantime, thank you again all for being part of this wonderful celebration. I'm pleased to introduce Marie Saucier, who's president of UPW Maine.
Welcome to our event. It's an honor to be part of an organization that truly supports and celebrates women. As president of Future Emma Foundation, I want to thank you for being here today with us to acknowledge the life and lasting legacy of the late Thelma Swain. It is Women's History Month, and today we will officially add Thelma Swain's name to the pages of Maine women's history. Your participation in this celebration furthers her philanthropic legacy. The monies raised annually at this event contribute significantly to the scholarship funds of Future Emma Foundation. The foundation annually provides 8 scholarships to women, both young and old, helping them to unlock the doors to their economic self-sufficiency in the future. While they let me have the podium, I would like to invite you to participate in our next event as well. Kind of stolen the tagline from this Hall of Fame event, honoring the past and inspiring the future, and we've designed a fun event for next month, which is Pay Equity Month. On Saturday, April 10th, we will be sponsoring a 1K walk to honor the past and inspire the future. This will be held in Waterville, starting at the Rem Center on Main Street. We're looking for participants of all ages, from Browning troops to quilting circles, and we're strongly encouraging costumes depicting the past or the future of women. We are expecting women of historical note, possibly some suffragettes, perhaps some women from other countries who are currently struggling for equality. I have some posters and registration forms in the back of the room. Please take one and consider joining us. This will be a fun event, and you definitely want to get your bib. By Monday, the information is also going to be available on our website, www.bpwmefoundation.org. Thank you again for coming to today's Hall of Fame induction and the Silver Tea. Sally Ann Hart, Chief.
to welcome all of you to our 21st annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We are pleased that so many of you could join us today. First of all, I want to thank the representatives from our three co-sponsoring groups. They are Burnett Barker, who is immediate past president of DPW Maine, Dr. Allison Hughes Handley, who is president of the University of Maine at Augusta, and Marie Saucy, who is president of the DPW Maine Future Island Foundation. Thank you very much. Isn't it a wonderful culmination of our 21-year association with the University of Maine at Augusta to have this new and highly visible location for the Maine Women's Hall of Fame within the Katz Library? We look forward to all of you seeing our display with reframed and matted photographs at this new location when we hold the silver tea at the library at the conclusion of this induction ceremony. This new presentation space is definitely more visible for students, for visitors, or anyone coming to the University of Maine at Augusta. Each year, the special ceremony honoring women has been held at the University of Maine in Augusta during the month of March in observance of Women's History Month. During the 21 years, the University of Maine at Augusta has generously provided the site for the display of our photographs and citations for each honoree. We hope that each of you signed in at the registration table so that we can have a complete record of today's event and that you signed also our guest book. We are pleased that some of our previous inductees plan to be here today, and I'd like to read the names and then have all of you welcome. The three that I know that are here today: Sharon Abrams, Sharon Barker, and Eloise Vitelli. Would you please stand? Maybe sit back and relax and enjoy it. I think maybe for Sharon, after last year, she's glad just to be here and just be part of it. And we're pleased that she's going to be part of, as our speaker for that 1K walk that we're having next month. So it's nice to continue working with people that we have had inducted. So thank you again. And this afternoon, Representative Mike Mishu had planned to be here for this ceremony. He has been here several years himself in person, but as all of you know, there is a big going on in Washington, D.C. about healthcare, and that affects all of us, and it is more important for him, I'm sure, to be there on behalf of Maine people to try to get the best that he can for our Maine people. And so I'm going to ask one of his assistants, Rosemary Winslow, to please give the remarks he planned to give today. Rosemary?
Down to my height, we'll be fine here. Unfortunately, the Congressman has other plans today as we discuss what the next 20 years will be like with regards to health care. But I have to say, this has been, for the last few years, a high point for the Congressman to get the opportunity to meet who is being honored and to share in the stories, and I will gladly let him know that he just missed an incredible intro with this video that we saw of your mother, Virginia. That was terrific. And I'll also add something else to this. I'm going to personalize it a bit because I was given a unique opportunity 5 years ago when Sharon Abrams asked if I would come on to the Maine Children's Home Board. And as someone who has been a former teacher with alternative students in the Waterville school system, who's done a number of other things in one's life, I had the unique opportunity to actually see the teen parent school, the staff, and Thelma kicking back and being the mother that so many have not had the opportunity to have. And it's just so fitting that we have the opportunity to have remarks on behalf of your mother for you today. I want to congratulate on behalf of the Congressman, this year's inductee, the late Thelma Swain. and her family on the induction into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. I'm so glad that her daughter, Virginia, could be here with us. Thelma was and continues to be an inspiration to many through her actions as a philanthropist, a volunteer, and a true fighter for the underdog. And that was depicted very well in that video, no question. And of course, since she remained active throughout her 90s, we should all hope that we're lucky enough to have similar genes. Few are more dedicated to teen mothers and children at the Maine Children's Home for Little Wanderers than she was. The many years that Thelma spent nurturing the children and talking to and motivating the mothers are greatly appreciated by many, and her efforts are still felt today. Thelma's own achievement as a college graduate helped her to see the importance of education, especially for Mainers. When she would speak about the scholarship she set up for Maine students at her alma mater, she would joke, they have to come from Maine to get money from me. But Thelma also believed that skilled workers who work with their hands play an important role in our society. While their names are rarely in the headlines, she recognized that plumbers, welders, and other skilled workers who do the essential work of raising families and building their communities deserve our attention too. It's ironic that I started my morning filling in for the congressman at an earlier event, a breakfast event, as the main speaker at the Trade Women's Conference for Women Unlimited at the Senator Inn. I also shared with them that I would be here this afternoon, and somehow it seemed apropos that this morning's event honoring how tradeswomen, the changes with women minority groups have come to such a height with Federal Highway, MDOT, and so many other areas that it's sort of fitting that the two blended in one and the same day. They certainly received Thelma's attention, all of them. Through her hard work and compassion for others, she was able to raise nearly $2 million for scholarship donations and provide thousands of Mainers the opportunity to further their education in Maine's community college system. It's no wonder that the Council of Resource Development, an arm of the American Association of Community Colleges, named Thelma the New England Benefactor of the Year in 2000. And it's no wonder that today she is being inducted fittingly, not far from her birthplace in Chelsea, into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Thanks again for giving us the opportunity and for us to be here. And it's an extraordinary work that you do on behalf of women from Maine.
Thank you very much, Rosemary, for filling in so everything for my issue. And we all realize why you can't be here, and your association with one of the areas that honoree is in is nice to have that touch too. Thank you for sharing with us. And senators were not able to be here either, and I have a few words that I will share from them. One is from Senator Linda Snow. She wrote this: Dear Virginia, please accept my warmest greetings as you recognize the myriad accomplishments and boundless generosity of your late wonderful mother, Thelma Swain. I am sure you and your family could not be more proud as she receives one of the highest honors given to women in our state, induction into the prestigious Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Indeed, she truly deserving of this phenomenal accolade, with all of her countless contributions to the people of our state, especially women and children. From her philanthropy within the Maine Community College system and hours of volunteer work at the Maine State Museum and the Maine Children's Home for Little Wanderers, to the selfless donations of her own personal items of historic value to the Maine State Museum, your mother has certainly left an enduring and indelible legacy of contribution to our state. Virginia, it goes without saying that your mother set a standard for giving back that will reverberate for years to come, and her tireless energy and can-do attitude have been an unending source of tremendous inspiration for Maine's young women as they seek better careers, pursue greater education, and forge brighter futures. Again, congratulations to you and your family on this momentous occasion. You have my very best wishes, and I've given you original to Virginia. And this is from Senator Susan Collins. Dear friends, thank you for your kind invitation to join with you at celebrating the 21st Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I am delighted to share my best wishes as you pay tribute to the great women of our state, women whose achievements, sacrifices, and contributions have made such an important difference in the lives of all women. Through your hard work and dedication, you honor great Maine women, both those who are with us and those who have passed. This year's inductee, the late Thelma Swain, made innumerable and significant contributions to Maine. She created opportunity and gave hope to those who are far less fortunate than she. Understanding the challenges many of our college students face, Thelma was able to help those seeking to better their lives through academic achievement, especially the technical, now community college system. In addition to her financial generosity, Thelma also gave of herself, volunteering at the Maine State Museum and the Maine Children's Home for Little Wanderers, among others. Thelma was truly a role model of selflessness and service to others. Business and professional women's organizations throughout our country have made great strides by helping us to stay connected, build networks, explore careers, create successful workplaces, and be informed on important issues. This list is just a small part of what business and professional women have done on behalf of women. Indeed, your contributions are best measured and articulated by your successes, achieving equality for all women in the workplace through advocacy, education, and information. Again, congratulations on a successful 21 years. I look forward to our continued work together. Sincerely, Susan M. Collins, United States Senator. An individual has approached about saying a few words about our inductee, Thelma. Is Gary Crocker here? Would you like to come forward and just say a few words?
Thank you for this opportunity. I'm thrilled to be here today, and I kind of rushed in late, and I apologize for that. The reason I'm here is because I had the unique pleasure to actually work with Thelma Swain and talk to her about why she was doing what she was doing, especially with regard to the community colleges. That's where I worked at the time. And when I heard this was happening, I began to think about what makes a person like Thelma Swain. Where does a person like that come from? And believe it or not, the Harry Bushmen have explained it to me. I just really want you to know I feel blessed to have known Thelma personally. The community colleges, and more specifically the students in the community colleges, at the time technical colleges, benefited mightily because of what she did. And as a result, everyone here benefits. Someday, somewhere, your car's going to break down, your heat's going to go off, your power's not going to work, and during the ice storm, the vast majority of back in '97, the vast majority of power lines were hooked back to homes by graduates of the technical colleges, people that Thelma Swain understood was so important to Maine. So I want to read just a brief thing that the Kalahari Bushmen had to say about special people. The Bushmen in the Kalahari Desert talk about two hungers. There's a great hunger, and there's a little hunger. The little hunger wants food for the belly, but the great hunger, the greatest hunger of all, is hunger for meaning. There's ultimately only one thing that makes human beings deeply and profoundly bitter. That is to have thrust upon them a life without meaning. There is nothing wrong in searching for happiness. We all do it. I do it more than most. I'm desperate to be happy every minute. Joyce knows that better than anybody. But of far more comfort to the soul is something greater than happiness or unhappiness, and that is meaning. Because meaning transfigures all. Once what you are doing has for you meaning, it is irrelevant whether you're happy or unhappy. You're content. You are not alone in your spirit. You belong. And I just wanted to be here today to say for the record that Thelma, you belong. God bless you. Thank you.
Thelma by Thelma. We had someone request to speak, so we have to be flexible and we try to get the most information we can about our inductee out there for you to celebrate. So thank you again very much, Gary. The Maine Women's Hall of Fame was established in 1990. Nominations are requested each year and are submitted by a variety of organizations, businesses, and individuals. An independent panel of judges review the nominations with careful consideration to select one or two honorees to be inducted each year. The Hall of Fame is dedicated to women who have met three specific criteria. The woman's achievement have had a significant statewide impact. The woman's achievement significantly improved the lives of women in Maine, and the woman's contribution has enduring value for women. The National Women's Hall of Fame was established in Seneca Falls, New York. In 1990, Maine Women's Hall of Fame was founded by BPW Maine, the BPW Maine past state presidents. Many past state presidents have been involved in differing degrees over the years. This year, we are honoring one woman with induction into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, the late Thelma Swain, wife, mother, volunteer, philanthropist, and quiet champion of the underdog. She was nominated by Kennebec Savings Bank, Laura Hudson, Billy Ann Dolby, and Mark Johnson, president. The induction ceremony for the late Thelma Swain will now begin. It is with pleasure that I ask Virginia Swain, daughter of Thelma Swain, and the presenters to please come forward. The moderator for this presentation will be Laura J. Hudson from Kennebec Savings Bank. We'll just kind of switch places, and ladies on the stage will now please join the audience, and will the others please come forward. Thank you.
Good afternoon, as Sally Ann said, my name is Laura Hudson. I'm the Vice President and Marketing Director for Kennebec Savings Bank. As it turns out, I'm also the resident writer, so I was the one that pulled all the materials and nominations together with a couple people at the bank that actually are very close friends of Thelma's, and that's Billy Ann Dolby, who could be here today, and Mark Johnston, the President of Kennebec Savings Bank, who could not be here today. But in full disclosure, I have to say that Thelma had a huge crush on Mark. And he would tell you that if he was here. Mine was a business relationship with Thelma. As the marketing officer of Kennebec Savings Bank, we used her love of Kennebec Savings Bank and her testimonials for a few years, and at age 99, she graced the back of our annual report, which is the picture that you see in the program today. But when I started interviewing her friends and family to learn more about Thelma, I became energized personally with what I referred to in the nomination as representing every woman. Here was a lady who was happier and more full of life in her last 25 years than in her first 75. Here was a lady who understood what it was to struggle. Here was a lady who cared about young people she didn't even know. That touched me personally because it just so happens that I was also a teen parent at the Maine Children's Home almost 30 years ago. It was the love, caring, and understanding that I got as a troubled teen that put me back on track to be a great parent, a great community person, and worker. But you'll learn more about Thelma's impact on the Maine Children's Home in a minute. Today we have two people. We should have had three people. You'll see there's a young lady that was on the program today. She was unable to be here, but we will read her comments. Today we have two people who will speak on Thelma's behalf, and I'll tell you a little bit about each one of those as I introduce them before they speak. The first is Joyce Headland, who's the president of Eastern Maine Technical College. And I'm always struck in Maine by how intertwined our lives are. You've heard all of these people that have talked. Everybody knows it, everybody. It's amazing to me how many people you know the people you know who know the people you know. You know what I'm saying? I worked with Joyce, actually, indirectly for years in economic development, and I consider her one of Maine's shining stars. She's smart, thoughtful, enterprising, and as it turns out, she happens to be a dear friend of Thelma Swain. Who knew? Joyce Hedlund has been a leader in Maine higher education for over 2 decades. She has led Eastern Maine Community College through a period of extraordinary growth and change, and has done so with a deep commitment to providing Maine students with an extremely high quality and relevant education. Joyce Hedlund.
Thank you very much. I'm here representing the community colleges, and Laura referred to us as technical colleges, and that was, no, Laura, that was so appropriate, I have to tell you. And you'll find out as I go along why that was so appropriate. I'm also here for myself, because I was a personal friend of Thelma's, and she still continues to be very much a part of my life, because the wisdom she imparted to me keeps me going on the toughest of days as a college president. Now, if she were here today, she'd be very honored by this recognition, but would be wondering why all the fuss. Thelma was not a person who sought glory or recognition for being a supporter and advocate for what she believed in. She was a believer in the power of the people to make a difference, and supported those causes that she knew would make a difference in other people's lives. When Thelma came into the lives of all the community colleges, she reinforced our belief in ourselves and our mission. And that mission was to provide a highly educated workforce for the state of Maine. Thelma never supported the name change to community college.
I knew that.
The reason was that she did not want us to forget our key role of providing the very technicians that Gary referred to, the plumbers, the carpenters, the electricians, the nurses, who made the lives of Mainers so much easier. And she used to tell a story about how a vehicle had come in through the wall of her house. And she was sitting there, and she said, "Besides my lawyer, who do I need right now?" And she said, "I need a plumber. If I'd been hit by the car, I needed an emergency medical technician. I would have needed a nurse." And she says, "Where do I get those people?" And that's when she settled upon the technical colleges. She made sure, that we were reminded of the fact that we should be technical community colleges on a regular basis, and for her interest in and support for our students. Thelma was named the first trustee emeritus of the Board of Trustees of the Maine Community Colleges. I think Thelma liked the personal touch in life and in business. And each of us as presidents was asked to meet with her. We were asked about the past, the present, and the future of our colleges. And while we talked, Thelma was sizing us up, wondering how committed we were to our mission. She must have liked what she heard and saw, because each college has endowed scholarships for students enrolled in specific technologies as a result of her generosity. Our students benefit, and we are forever grateful. I had the pleasure of knowing Thelma as a friend and visited her on a regular basis. I met her when she was in her 90s or approaching 90s. She was inquisitive, intelligent, interested, and interesting. During every visit, we talked about so many things, but the conversations always threaded their way through her love for Virginia and Harry, her trips with family that took her to various places in the world, and always a stern reminder to stay true to the mission of providing skilled technicians for Maine. I was telling Virginia that one of the things she used to worry about me was that I was going to stop being a college president. So I always got that as well. You're not going to stop, are you? Thelma Swain is the right person to receive this honor. I know that if she were here, her delight in seeing us all together, representing the strength of women in Maine, would be as great as what she felt, the honor being bestowed upon her for her own good work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce. This afternoon's second speaker holds a special place in my heart and is also endeared by the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. In fact, she was the 2004 recipient of this very award. And it was my honor and actually my duty to be involved in helping to put her nomination and materials together with friend and co-worker Mary Hammond at the time. Sharon Abrams is the executive director of the Maine Children's Home for Little Wanderers, a role she's held since 1992. She started in 1974, and it just so happens that almost 30 years ago, she was the teacher in the Teen Parent School program, almost singly responsible for my success. I'd like to read a short piece that I wrote for her nomination in 2004. What makes Sharon special is not necessarily the number of teen mothers that she's affected over her 30-year tenure, but the quality of the effect. Hundreds of pregnant and parenting girls grew into women under Sharon's careful guidance, and many of them attribute their success as mothers, partners, and citizens, not to the Maine Children's Home alone, but to the individual who taught them about life, about living, and about being a good mother. She knew Thelma well, but you should hear her story. Sharon Abrams. I feel like I should sit down and say nothing at this point.
Wit well in the head. Thelma was a dear friend, and I still vividly remember the first visit that I met Thelma Swain, a crisp fall day back in 2001. Thelma had been a contributor for many years to the Maine Children's Homes, and had always designated her gifts to our summer camp program. This was the first opportunity that I had to actually meet her, and so accompanied by Bruce Stofford from Kennebec Savings Bank, I went to her home because he was also a member of our first ever capital campaign to purchase and retrofit our current location on 93 Silver Street in Waterford. It was the former Thomas College and the former Police Academy. I have to tell you, I was scared to death. I'd never met her. I knew that she was a major contributor to others, but they were big organizations. It was the vocational schools, it was the University of Maine system. And I just was nervous. I was truly amazed by this tiny woman, living in her modest apartment, who greeted us at the door. She was gracious and welcoming and warm. I didn't know at the time that this would be the first of many, many visits to her apartment, to the Maine Children's Home campus, and many, many trips with the senator in for lunch. This one encounter became life-changing for me, and most importantly, for the students in the Teen Parent School program, who Thelma soon called her granddaughters. And for her teens, she became their Grammy Spoon. This diminutive woman had a twinkle in her eye and an almost impish way about her at times, but that could quickly turn. She could become quite stern and quite serious, especially if she did not approve of what she had just heard. Without a word, just a look from Thelma, you knew where you stood. Never a question. When Thelma
came to the campus in 2002, not long after we had moved. We were eager to give her a tour. We were so proud of what we had accomplished with the help of her and others with her spirit. Excuse me. What we did not expect was how she would take to the students in our teen parent school program and how much she wanted to share with them her life experiences and her knowledge. She became a regular visitor, part of her parenting classes, their parties, and their baby days. She even sent them cards on special holiday occasions, letting them know that she cared. And for them, that was so important because they never got cards from family. Maybe never got cards from their mother. We all learned so much from this amazing woman and how she became the woman that she was. She would share with us that really she had just come into her own when she turned 70. That our life's journey is never over as long as we are living it. She talked to the students about what it was like to go to school in her day, about college, about finding her first job. It was then that I also learned that when she was first employed, it was as a home economist, a job that she was not prepared for. But she did it, and if I know Thelma, she did it well. It was interesting for me because, you see, I was educated as a home economist, and although I did use it earlier in my career, the majority of my life's work, I have not. Thelma soon became a presence at every event she could possibly attend for the teens, absent really only when she was in France with Virginia and Harry. She also became a great grandmother to the teens' children, and was often seen holding them and remarking to their mothers what potential they had. She would talk about the years when her Virginia was little, and they were completely shocked to learn that disposable diapers were on top of that world. After attending one of our graduation celebrations, Thelma decided that she would like to help her granddaughters and encourage them to finish high school, but to go on and attend college. She quickly added a significant gift to the Teen Parent Scholarship Fund, which now allows for a $1,000 scholarship for at least 3 students who graduate from our program each year. The time I shared with Thelma will be forever in my heart and in my fondest memories. We spent countless hours in my car. Since after she turned 90, she decided not to drive anymore, just amazing, 90 years old. I would pick her up either at her apartment or very often at the Maine State Library because she volunteered many hours a week there in her late 90s. We traveled to Waterville to spend time with her granddaughters, their babies, or sometimes we would just go out to lunch or grocery shop for a few things. Those were the times that I got to know her best and the times that she helped me the most. You see, it was during those many years that my own dear mother was declining with Alzheimer's. My mother first came to live with my husband and me, and did so for 3 years. And then 2 years after, he went into a nursing home because her care continued to require more care. You see, Thelma had acquired many granddaughters and many great-grandchildren, but she had also slowly become almost a surrogate mother to me during one of my very most difficult times. I often wished that my mother could have had the retirement years, the good health, the wit, the sharp mind that Thelma had, and that she was blessed with. The truth is that Thelma was a gift to us all the women who were fortunate to meet her and to have time with her. She was a role model, she was a wife, she was a mother, a volunteer, a philanthropist, and a quiet champion for the underdog. She made you believe that you could do anything, and modeled by example that anything was possible. She ensured this for many by investing in youth she hadn't even met, by giving hope for a better life through education scholarships. She so deserves to be inducted into the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. Even though I believe if she were here today, she would be very embarrassed by all this. She's an incredible woman that will affect us all forever. It's at this time that I was going to introduce one of her granddaughters, Susan Corrales, who came to the Teen Parent School Program when she moved from Belize to Maine. Susan graduated from our Teen Parent School Program and has a son, Timothy, now, 2 years old. She was a recipient of our Teen Parent Scholarship and is now attending Andover College in Lewiston, where she is majoring in criminal justice. Thelma would have been thrilled to have her here. Unfortunately, at the very last minute, a complication in her life came up and she's not able to attend. But I can't think of anyone more appropriate to read Susan's words to you than my friend and my former student, Laura Hudson.
Funny, it's been almost 30 years since I was a teen parent, but especially reading this and being here, it kind of brings it all back and makes it real. So some of these words, I think, will come with more emotion than they would from somebody who doesn't really understand what Susan's saying. Like typical teens, most of the girls sitting in the lunchroom at the Maine Children's Teen Parent Program High School wear jeans, worry about how their hair looks, and carry on whispered conversations with their friends while keeping one eye on the teacher. But along with the worries over bad hair days, final exams, and getting their part-time jobs on time, these girls have other things on their mind. Some battle morning sickness, others wonder if they recognize the early signs of labor. Still others worry that their infants and their toddlers were napping just across from where their classes are in, the daycare center. I moved to Maine in 2007. At the time, I was 6 months pregnant with my son, Timothy Corrales, now 2 years old. For me, traveling from another country wasn't a problem. I loved traveling. I came from my country prepared to start a new life in the United States and to raise my son. I knew what I wanted. I wanted an education, shelter, family. I joined the Teen Parent School Program at the Maine Children's Home for Little Wanderers that same summer in 2007. At the Maine Children's Home, I've met a lot of new people from different agencies that are just trying to help teen moms. These people from different agencies are social workers, healthcare workers, parenting teachers, and family planning workers. And of course, these people are important to us. They help us get housing, food, transportation, birth control, and other basic human needs. I need better glasses. I keep realizing that I'm going all over the place. My arm used to be a lot longer than this. Out of all of these support systems of networking, our parents and those close to us just want the best for us. They want us to beat the odds, beat the stereotype, and to graduate from high school, attend college, and get good jobs, also to be the best parents. The most remarkable thing happened. The most remarkable thing that happened, a complete stranger could have done for me and my classmates from the teen program was to adopt us as her grandchildren. A grandchild that needs guidance, support, and love. At the Maine Children's Home, Grammy Thelma Swain did. I never asked why, because I don't question love and a kind heart. Grammy Swain would visit us at baby day, Christmas time, and at group time. For Valentine's Day, she sent us Valentine's Day cards for us and our babies. In person, she would tell us her story about the places she visited, places she would love to go. She had a dry sense of humor, but very funny. When she came to visit, she was very much present in the room. She was sitting down with us, get us comfortable, and then ask us what we want to do with our lives after high school. Whatever we said, she was pleased by. At the end of her visit, she would wish us guys the best, take care of the babies, and go as far as you can in school. Strive for a better you, she would say. When she passed away, it was a sad time at the Maine Children's Home. I had the privilege to attend her funeral ceremony. At the ceremony, I got to meet her only daughter, who was a great woman and was proud of her mother. Her son-in-law, I think, was her traveling buddy. I had a photo on top of a mountain skydiving. That was taking a year or so before her passing away. Everyone had sincere comments to tell about time spent with Mrs. Thelma. She was a pleasant woman that was full of compassion and kind, caring heart to share with us teen mothers. Rest in peace, Mrs. Thelma.
From that fine presentation, I'm sure you are all aware of her great contributions to women and girls and how much she has meant to them over the years and why she was selected for induction here today. Virginia Swain, would you please step forward so that you can receive this citation in her memory. The Maine Federation of Business and Professional Women, the Maine BPW Futurama Foundation, and the University of Maine at Augusta present the 21st Annual Maine Women's Hall of Fame Award to the late Thelma Swain, nominated by Kennebec Savings Bank, Laura Hudson, Billy Ann Dolby, and Mark Johnson, President. Presented March 20th, 2010 at University of Maine at Augusta, signed by Burnett Bowker, BPW Maine past state president, Allison Handley, the president of the University of Maine at Augusta, and Marie Saucier, president of the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation. Congratulations. And now, Virginia, would you like to share some remarks over the time?
I have to say, I wasn't going to write up my remarks. I thought, I could just come and have lots of anecdotes and stories to tell about my mother, but then last night I thought, well, maybe I'll be a little emotional and I might have to write this up. So I did, and as I was writing it up, I got emotional, and I'm just a little worried that I may not keep my cool through all of this. It's an amazing honor and a totally unexpected event. I have to say, I haven't missed my mother this much since right after she died. I wished she were here. I think she would be flabbergasted by this honor and deeply moved by the extraordinary respect and warm affection it represents. I'm trying to collect it myself. When Laura Hudson first approached me with the idea of nominating Mom for the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, I thought she was very kind, but rather unrealistic.
She doesn't know me.
I never imagined that my mother, wonderful as she was, would qualify for such standing among Maine's many powerful and accomplished women. So before I say anything more, I have to thank Laura and her colleagues at the Kennebec Savings Bank for their inspiration and their dedication to making this happen. My mother was very fond of all her friends at Kennebec Savings, more maybe than I knew, actually. And it seems that the feeling was mutual. I also know that J.R. Phillips, director of the Maine State Museum, and John Fitzsimmons, president of the Maine Community College Community College System, contributed their support to making this nomination come about. And of course, we know the role that Sharon Abrams played in it also. In this video that you saw, and in fact you heard her say it, which was made of my mother in 2006, 2 years before she died, she summed up her life by saying, "I've been surrounded by a lot of great people." And I know for sure that she would include Laura Hudson, Billy Ann Dolby, Mark Johnson, and J.R. Phillips, and Sharon Abrams, and others among them. Thank you all very much. Thelma Swain was not a pretentious person, I think you can see, and she did not seek recognition for her generous acts. In fact, she actively sought to keep her gifts quiet. I have only recently learned about some of them. Mom was proud to be a vocal champion of Maine and Mainers, but she preferred to be a stealth philanthropist. She came from humble origins, as you saw. Her father was an English gardener, and she grew up, as she would say, on the outer edge of great wealth, looking in. Even as she prospered, she retained her empathy for those who were not so fortunate, and often said, as she said there, for the grace of God, go I. It was very clear to her that many talented people never have the chance to develop and utilize their gifts as they should for lack of encouragement, understanding, and financial help. And when she had the means to make a difference to people who needed support, it was natural for her to give it. Mom would have wholeheartedly endorsed the aims and programs of the Maine Federation of Business and Professional Women. Where the Maine BPW provides training and funds to enable working women to succeed, Mom wanted to enable women to work by making sure they had access to post-secondary education and training. Although she might not agree with me, I believe that she achieved her goals not only by providing scholarships for Maine teens to go to college, but also by modeling the values she hoped they would acquire. My mother was a hardworking, determined, resourceful, and honest woman who tempered her strong opinions with humor and kindness. Since I'm talking to a business group, let me illustrate Mom's determination and resourcefulness with a couple of examples I think you'll appreciate. Mom graduated with a degree in English from Tufts University in the middle of the Great Depression, and she said that her poverty only really hit her then. She would tell me, many a time I sat with a nickel, and I kept the nickel because I didn't want to say I was broke. She couldn't even get a job waitressing when she got out of college. She had to go back to her parents' home in York Harbor because there were no jobs to be had. Then one day she visited a friend who was working in a dry goods store in Nashua, New Hampshire, and actually this slightly antedates her working in the home economics field. Marveling at the many skeins of yarn for sale in this store, she said, "You should hire someone to teach knitting." The store created the job. She was hired for it, and from then on she managed to earn a living. Many years later, when my father was starting his own business and our family had very little margin for indulgences, my mother saved all the Roosevelt dimes. I don't know if Roosevelt dimes are still in circulation or not, but they were very distinctive. They had Roosevelt's picture on them. She saved all the Roosevelt dimes that she and my father happened to have in their change until she was able to pay for a vacation for the three of us in Florida. That example of frugality was the explicit reason why the bank, possibly Kennebec Savings, I'm not sure, gave my parents their first and only home mortgage. A woman who could save enough Roosevelt dimes to fly her family to Florida could certainly be trusted to pay off a sizable loan. Unbeknownst to her, I think, Mom was definitely a model for young people, particularly young women. But more important, she never stopped learning from and appreciating them. She loved to attend the annual luncheon for the top students at the Maine community colleges, and she would always come away with some amazing story about the students' courage and their determination to overcome the obstacles in their way. She was nonplussed when she first found out that some of the students had to choose between eating and buying books, and that others slept in their cars because they couldn't afford both tuition and rent. Their stories reaffirmed her belief that scholarships would encourage these hard-working young Mainers to continue striving for their goals. Knowing them, I think, was also an inner affirmation of herself. When Mom first paid a visit to the Maine Children's Home, she stopped to look in on one of the classes, and Sharon, maybe you will remember this. None of the teens looked up. As Mom left, one girl on the other side of the room gave her the smallest wave goodbye. Mom got the definite impression that none of the girls expected her or anyone to care about them or take an interest in their lives. Mom said, "I just could have cried." That's when she made up her mind to become their grandmother. She derived such joy from her visits with them as they began to trust her and open up to her. and she put particular thought into answering their challenging question: what is the most important thing in life? Her answer, know yourself, may not be the one you would expect, but to me it goes right to the heart of Mom's giving. She never forgot who she was, and she knew too that through all her generous acts, she got much more from the people she met than she ever gave to them. This event really proves that she was right. Thank you all for giving her this incredible tribute.
Everyone for coming. I see so many familiar faces. Mom was
Thank you very much, Virginia, for sharing those remarks with time. It's better that way. If you look at your program at this time, it was scheduled a presentation by the Postal Service, so that you can tell we've made many changes today in our program, both good and bad. And because of the changes the Postal Service was making, we used to have a district of Maine and then New Hampshire and Vermont worked together. Now it's the Northern New England district, and the one that's responsible for being here today is doing another job, and the person that's taken over for her is from New Hampshire and was not able to be here today. But well, they do hope to participate again in the future for this event. They have participated with us for 11 years, so they have been a great partner for us in this honoring women, and they have provided women in stamp brochures to give out. And we were honored a few years ago that one of the first inductees in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, Margaret J. Smith, was finally on a stamp. And you will see the stamp for her over at the Silver Tee. So congratulations again, Virginia, for representing your mother at her induction in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. We appreciate all that she has done on behalf of women and girls in the state of Maine. A sincere thank you to those of you who presented information this afternoon about our newest inductee in the Maine Women's Hall of Fame. We want to thank everyone who participated this afternoon in this ceremony to recognize her accomplishments and contributions. Thank you also to the individuals and businesses who support the Maine Women's Hall of Fame, the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation with a generous contribution. Donations received as of March 8 are listed in the program. Some of them are just general contributions to the Hall of Fame. Some are in memory of Thelma, Swain, in honor of other people. Monies donated to the Hall of Fame itself or in honor or memory of someone are used to augment our scholarship program through the BPW Maine Futurama Foundation to high school senior girls and to women attending college, which is one of the things definitely you saw that Thelma Swain was interested in, trying to encourage people to go on to college. And if the Maine Women's Hall of Fame has what we call a tagline of honoring the past, inspiring the future, we've definitely honored the past by honoring Thelma. And with our scholarships, we do inspire the future. For 2010, the foundation will be giving out a $1,200 scholarships award. There are extra donation forms and envelopes, as well as applications for the scholarship themselves that are available on the table at the Silver Tee at the Katz Library immediately after the closing of the ceremony. So if you are interested in donating, we would appreciate it if you or someone else you know should be receiving one of those scholarship applications. Please take one of them with you. We would be more than glad to consider that person for one of our scholarships. We have special appreciation to the many people involved with today's event. The sponsoring organization, UMA Facilities Department, the sponsor of our inductees, Those who participated in the induction ceremony this afternoon, the judges, the special committees for the Hall of Fame, including the Silver Tea. This event would not be possible without the hard work of the many people involved. We appreciate all of you joining us this afternoon in honoring our inductee for our 21st Maine Women's Hall of Fame. We trust that you had an enjoyable afternoon and that you informed others about the Maine Women's Hall of Fame and the work of BPW Maine Futurama Foundation in providing educational scholarships to Maine women. This ceremony is held annually on the third Saturday in March. Nominations are distributed in early fall, and completed nominations must be received by the deadline of December 1st. It is not too early to begin to think of some deserving woman to nominate for our 22nd induction ceremony next year, 2011. You may let me know if you would like to receive a nomination form. We invite everyone present to join us at the CCAT Library as we dedicate the new location for our Maine Women's Hall of Fame that President of UMA they told us about this afternoon. The Silver Tea is all set out and waiting for you to join us over there at the library. BPW Maine and BPW Maine Futurama Foundation want to thank the University of Maine at Augusta for allowing us to have this much more visible location for the Hall of Fame display. It would not have been possible to have the celebration and display without the continued help and assistance from the University of Maine at Augusta. I want to thank all of you for joining us today, and please, all of you do come over to the Cass Library to see the new location for the Hall of Fame. All the pictures are there, and if you know more than one of them, it would be nice if you have a chance to visit them. 3 of our previous inductees are here today, and they can have a chance now for the first time to see the new location. Thanks again for all of you joining us this afternoon, and have a safe drive home after the Silver Tea.